Welcome to the horror show. Turns out that Juliet behind them transformed into a giant cockroach advance team. Thankfully, the girl was quick-witted, hopping around like a bunny, escaping down the warehouse shelves. Poor Carl outside of the worst luck, watching the fish dash past him while completely clueless, only to be called out directly by the mutated Juliet. Thank goodness for that mysterious hero with the flamethrower. The moment the girl pushed the door open, it was like a movie plot, setting Juliet ablaze. She was like a fire dancer, drowning the copy in flames. It seems this creature has some brains, trying to cool off with water. But how could Ped ever let her succeed? He gave the replica another round of sterilization like a diligent doctor. Then, fearing that it wasn't thorough enough, they dug a pit outside to ensure a complete eradication. Just when everyone thought they were finally safe, the fish dropped a bombshell. Anyone who got attacked by the giant roach might have already transformed. To protect the base, nobody can leave without permission now. It's like living in a superhero movie. The professor had the bright idea, everyone should give a little blood for testing. In no time, they'd find the undercover mutants. However, after finding hidden grenades, the silent agreement between the fish and Ped was faster than lightning. They nodded, planning for the worst. The professor probably thought, I have no idea what's going on, just tell me. But since they couldn't tell friend from foe, the fish and Ped kept the grenades under wraps. Shortly after, Cotter and Big Black emerged from the shadows, freezing like ice sculptures, making the fish suspicious for sure. Despite Cotter repeatedly insisting he and Big Black weren't copies, facing the threat of the flamethrower, they had no choice but to obey. The fish said they'd let them out if they passed the test. Unexpectedly, as soon as the fish stepped out, the lab erupted in flames. Everyone panicked, thinking, who would be the hidden mutant behind us? Is it you? However, no one expected the fish had a backup plan. Remember how we mentioned mutants can't replicate inorganic things, like dentures and braces. So the girls suggested checking everyone one by one till they found the copy. It was like a dentist special. She shook her flashlight, checking everyone's teeth, the simplest way to identify a copy. This sparked some complaints. You can't seriously kick us out just because we didn't have candy when we were kids. In the end, resistance was futile. Everyone was cornered, and when it came down to fish or be fish, who cares what anyone is? For the sake of the majority's safety, the fish directed Lars and the others to go fetch Carter and Big Black. But who could have guessed, when they reached the storage room, they'd find Carter and Big Black had pulled off a major escape. Lars was furious. They really must be copies, or there's no way they would have so effortlessly flown away. Ignoring the shouts behind him, Lars charged out with the flamethrower, scaring his companions silly. He dashed into another room and was unexpectedly drawn inside by something. Now the entire team was in a panic, wondering whether they ought to rush to save him or continue to stay hidden and await their moment. Just then, the sound of shattering glass echoed, and everyone realized they had to strike back. So under Ped's leadership, they rushed toward the sound, only to run smack into Carter and Big Black. Fueled with rage, Ped aimed to avenge Lars, but surprisingly, Big Black opened fire first, sending Ped packing. The others rushed to check, but the flamethrower suddenly leaked, causing an instant explosion and chaos. Edward got knocked out cold while Carter called for Hirsch and Jamison to help prove his innocence. Yet at that moment, Edward's arm turned rebellious, causing a mix of laughter and tears. His arm clamped down on Jonas. Though he screamed for help, nobody dared to step up. Meanwhile, Edward's body began to undergo mutation, causing everyone around to be plunged into a state of terror, and screams erupted. Unfortunately, Carter's flamethrower jammed, and everyone could only watch Edward's mutation unfold helplessly. Adam took the first hit, feeling like a candle in the spotlight, while Big Black frantically pulled out his gun. But the gun was as useless as trying to beat Super Mario, and Big Black got pierced by the tongue. Everyone started to scramble around, as the father began his purification journey once more. You hurriedly thought of an alternative to the flamethrower, but by then, the other party had already escaped. Just as you thought about chasing after them, she realized Big Black had recently kicked the bucket to the brutal reality of survival. Only you and Carter were left searching the great base for the conjoined monster when they finally found it, only to be attacked. Suddenly, you, hiding nearby, opened fire, setting the conjoined creature ablaze. This mutant had some luck thinking of escaping. You didn't plan to let it off, chasing it out for another barbecue. However, they spotted the professor making a getaway in the car, while Carter scoffed, nobody outside can survive a single night. You, however, refused to take the risk, stressing that this virus could not be allowed to spread. so they quickly grabbed all drums and grenades. They hit the road, only to find an empty car remaining at the spaceship docking point after the chase. In this crazy incident, the professor had already made it inside the ship, making safety rather suspect. So the two approached the spaceship cautiously, when suddenly, it fired up, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Before you could react, she got sucked inside the spaceship's airflow, and when she woke up again, she found herself inside the mysterious spacecraft. The spaceship's astonishing capabilities left you utterly awestruck as she pondered what incredible events would unfold next.